Fantasy, there we go. Fantasy was spread out a little bit thin, and Leta is taking advantage of that, and you can definitely take advantage of that with dropships. Thinning yourself out too thin is completely susceptible and overwhelmingly susceptible to dropship play here. So Leta using that to his advantage here, and now we can see that the red of the map is encroaching on Leta, or on Fantasy's position here, and now Leta just looking to get a couple of shots there, just checking out that position, seeing what's there, and I think that soon there's going to be a drop-on-drop action here, guys. I don't know who's going to come out ahead. I'm going to have to assume that Leta's going to come out ahead, which is really unfortunate. I want Fantasy to come back in this game. I want his team to come back in this game. I want there to be an ace match, or at least a fourth match. I want to see Boxer play. I will admit it. That's what I'm getting at here, guys. I want to see Boxer play, as well as the rest of the SKT1 guys. I mean, SKT1 is a dominating team, and I want to see Fantasy and Bisu play again as well. One or the other. Based on the performance, though, coming out of Bisu, I'm going to have to say it would probably be Fantasy. Yeesh. So, yeah, like I said here, Leta looking to push in on this 9 o'clock base here. He definitely has the units and the positioning to do it. Unfortunately, actually, I'm sorry, guys. I counted this as a mining base for Leta, or sorry, for Fantasy, and Fantasy has not been mining that the entire time. It was just a big clump of turrets and mines that looked on the minimap like a command center to me, as well as mining SCVs. Take a look there. That looks like mining SCVs. It's just a bunch of mines, though. But, ooh, clever pun. It wasn't mining SCVs, it was mines. Hi-oh. So, yeah, Fantasy looking to try to just push this this position back here for Leta, and Leta finally taking out these two tanks. Like I said, those two tanks on that high ground would have been extremely effective for Fantasy. And, ooh, taking the high ground for himself here, going to shell down on these tanks. And take out that position there. So, yeah, now taking the complete center of the map, and I didn't even realize that that high ground was directly in the center of the map. I thought it was just a little spindle like on Othello, or, you know, one of those maps where they have high grounds just scattered all over the field. But it is the middle of the... I think that's kind of like a beacon. To me, that looks like just the beacon of whoever has this, whoever controls this has... you know, a more dominating position, kind of like the waypoints in Warhammer. Shout out to Vol for casting Warhammer. Creative choice for gameplay, for game commentating. Would have never seen it coming. And a lot of SCVs actually for Fantasy scouting out this position here. I'm not sure what he was doing there. Possibly looking to distance mine. I don't think that was the case, but maybe just sacking for some supply count. Not sure what the case was there. But, yeah, Leta doing epic drops all over the place here. Leta is definitely far ahead here, unfortunately, though, floating a command center into turret and Goliath fire, as well as tanks to defend below. But, yeah, Leta taking a massive advantage here, just dropping all over these undefended locations, and he's just winning the unit war here. In Terran versus Terran, especially in the mid to early, or early, mid-late kind of ish game, but not the, what I'm getting at here is not the late game. What really matters here is just picking off little packs of units here and there, and especially encroaching on the opponent's position here. And as we can see that Leta has the dominating position here. I cannot believe how many times I've confused the names of both of these players. It is ridiculous. But anyways, I'm going to try to correct that in myself. And a drop here coming from Fantasy. Going to drop all over this position here. Moving drop and dropping all over the position there. Unfortunately, wow, kind of weird. They're dropping only 4 units there and moving in with a tank ball to clean that up there. And now SCV's coming in here, just going to clean this up. Really nice maneuver there. Actually microing and taking the time to use his APM on that, but losing some dropships in the middle of the field here. Actually only losing 1 dropship there. Not sure if it was full unit there. Losing another dropship though. Fantasy. What is going on here, brother? Losing dropships left and right. Losing units all over the field here. So Fantasy definitely in a losing position here, especially allowing Leta to take this 9 o'clock base here. Wow, Wraiths now being opted for here by Fantasy. I think he's just going to use those as like a desperation attempt to possibly attempt to try to catch those dropships of Leta out in the middle of the field here. Just try to pick those things off and, you know, put himself in a more dominating position. I don't even know what we can do actually. If he does pick off those dropships, it will set him in the lead, but it won't set him as far in the lead as I think he would like to be, because He's just lost so many units of his own here, now just encroaching on these positions with these raids, and those dropships actually now dropping in the backfield here. I thought that might have been an opportunity for Fantasy to push in there, now dropping some units of his own at that 9 o'clock position here, so not actually allowing Leta to take out this position here, and taking a lot of turret fire here though from these turrets that are established for Leta onto his dropships. And yeah, but fortunately though, Leta not going to be able to mine. Fortunately for Fantasy, Leta not going to be able to mine that position there. And both of these players are mined out in their first, second, and third bases. So yeah, this is not looking good here. And now Fantasy pushing in here, taking the middle of the map, taking the tanks off of that high ground there. And it's going to be a dropship versus Wraith war here. A lot of Wraiths actually coming out for Fantasy. Cloak Wraith going to pick off one dropship. Going in for a second one here. Getting that second dropship, but losing a lot of Wraiths actually of his own there. So I don't think that was a very even trade. I think Fantasy would have rather either picked off more dropships than that, or just picked off the one and run away, because he did lose so many Wraiths. And now pushing in this massive mech ball here. It looks like Leta might actually be going for the killing blow here. Moving in, encroaching on this position here. He's going to be able to shell down on 2 bases, as possibly even a third base here, the natural, the third, and the fourth for Fantasy. Fantasy only mining off of, I think, 1 base at this point in time. Potentially that 5 o'clock position is still mining. The observer did just show the 6 o'clock base. I didn't, however, quite catch whether there were minerals still there. He is mining the gas at that position. I don't know if there are any minerals. It looks to me on the minimap that there are minerals. Those could just be teal colored SCVs, however, and he is still mining from that 5 o'clock position. However, it is getting harassed here, taking down a lot of SCVs being lost here, and it looks like that command center is probably going to go down as well. So really unfortunate for Leta here. His units going, all of his mining being denied here, other than that 1 base on that right side, the right side of the map there. And yeah, so Leta really in a dominating position here, looking to potentially just take down this game for his team. It will be a 3-0 victory, which is extremely unexpected, I think, for not only me, but anyone watching here. Did not expect to see a 3-0 victory for, or rather just against SKT1, not just for Height, because Height necessarily isn't that great of a team. They have been doing really well lately. Well, not really well, but they've been doing a lot better than in previous seasons lately. But not necessarily that great, especially not great enough to say that anyone would predict a 3-0 victory for Height here, and especially against SKT1. But I've been preaching about that enough. No science vessels out in the field here. I did see the facility was up. That is just for upgrades, though, at this point in time. No battle cruisers as well. We might be looking to see that from Fantasy. I don't doubt that it will come from him very shortly. He is on comfortably 2, 4, 5, comfortably on 5 bases here, and he is harassing his opponent extremely well. He knows that he's got the dropship advantage as well as just the on-the-ground troop advantage, and he is going up against Wraiths here. So actually, I do take that back, because battlecruisers aren't necessarily that great against Wraiths. So he is probably going to just stick with the Goliath/tank force that he has on the ground here, as well as just really being extremely protective of those dropships, because those dropships will just snap and break to the explosive damage of those Wraiths. I think it'll just be, yeah, with the amount of Wraiths that are out in the field now, at least a control group there floating around for Fantasy here. So they will just get one-shot of those dropships for Leta, will just get one-shotted by those Wraiths. And Leta actually might be looking to, because of his position, because of the amount of troops and how well he can defend himself here, he might actually look to take that 5 o'clock position, which will not be actually that poor of a choice on his part. He is sending some SCVs over here. He's going to go for the transfer on this 9 o'clock position here, and if he can hold this position, if he can hold the 9 o'clock, then he is going to be in a really great position here. Running in with those SCVs. I think he wants to take those tanks with him, though. Yeah, here come the tanks. Dun, da, 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 running in with those tanks. And he's going to be able to siege up here as well as drop on this position here. So, yeah, Leta's definitely going to be able to take this 9 o'clock base here. Losing a lot of SCVs in the process, though. Those Wraiths, though, looking to defend here. Fantasy is scouting out the fact that there are a lot of Goliaths on the ground here. However, he is going for a massive pickoff of all these dropships here, and he is going to get away with quite a few of his own Wraiths here. Probably leaving with about 8 Wraiths at least from that group of, I will say, 12 Wraiths. So probably only losing about 4 Wraiths there, picking off the dropships. So the mobility for Leta has gone down, and he has kept the mobility for himself, having kept those Wraiths alive there. Just a science facility being picked away at here. And yeah, so Leta, that, however, I do want to point out that that 3 o'clock base, that natural expansion to the main at the 4 o'clock there, has not been taken by either player yet, as well as the 9 o'clock base. So 3 and 9 roughly have not been taken for either player yet, except for Fantasy now has established himself there. He's going to start mining there. Yeah, he is mining. He's only got 1 SCV on gas. I'm sure he'll change that as soon as he spots that out. Because in Terran versus Terran, and actually in a lot of matchups, it's said a lot by commentators that gas is the key in a lot of matchups, but it is. And mainly, though, it's just the key at certain stages of different matchups. For example, gas isn't really that important for a Protoss player.